And joining us now, senior advisor to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, Mark Regev. Thank you for being with us.
Mr. Regev, thank you so much for being with us. We'd love to begin with New York Times columnist Tom Friedman's column yesterday in the New York Times. And this is what he writes in a column entitled, "Israel is about to make a terrible mistake." In it, Tom writes, "I believe that if Israel rushes headlong into Gaza now to destroy Hamas and does so without expressing a clear commitment to seek a two-state solution with the Palestinian Authority and in Jewish settlements deep in the West Bank, it will be making a grave mistake that will be devastating for Israeli interests and American interests. It could trigger a global conflagration and explode an entire pro-American alliance structured that the United States has built in the region since Henry Kissinger engineered the end of the Yom Kippur War in 1973. This is not about whether Israel has the right to retaliate. It surely does. This is about doing it the right way, the way that does not play into the hands of Hamas, Iran, and Russia. Otherwise, what began as a Hamas onslaught against Israel has the potential to trigger Middle East war with every great power and regional power having a hand in it, which could make it a very difficult war to stop once it started." And Mr. Regev, I certainly wouldn't have just read Tom Friedman's op-ed to you if it wasn't reflective of other op-eds that I read throughout the weekend from pro-Israeli Americans, people like Peggy Noonan and others. So what would your response be to those worried that Israel is going to move too fast into Gaza, kill too many civilians, and start a global war?
So first, Joe, we have to say what is obvious, that Israel is not shooting from the hip. Israel has been very judicious. Your own reporters on the ground have said that Israel is still not moved, and we're preparing and we're planning. And when we actually do go in, it'll be after much thought and after we've thought not just about what the next step is, but the step after that and the step after that. We are indeed being judicious. We're not acting from anger. We're not acting hastily. We're thinking this through thoroughly. But to the larger point, I think it's crucial that we win this and we win it decisively because the whole region is watching. And if Israel can't defeat these Hamas murderers, then that's a victory for terrorists everywhere. That's a victory for Hezbollah. That's a victory for Iran. We have to show the world that the sort of violence that they inflicted upon us on that terrible Saturday 2 weeks ago, that doesn't pay. And by hitting back hard at Hamas, by destroying their military machine, that will strengthen every moderate Arab voice in the region.
And what you just said about destroying Hamas's war-making ability, I think that is shared by Americans who are writing many of these columns. I guess the question is how best to do it, and as you said, in a judicious way.
Correct. Look, we understand the reality. Ultimately, Joe, it's our young men and women who are going to be in the front line. We're going to be risking their lives as they go into battle in Gaza, and it'll be difficult. Hamas has been in power for 16 years. They've built, with the help of the Iranians, a formidable military machine. They've got bunkers, they've got dugouts, they've got underground tunnels. They are strong, and we know what sort of brutality they're capable of. We saw the sort of atrocious violence they committed when they invaded Israel 2 weeks ago. So we go in prepared, but I speak to our young people. I see our young soldiers. Some of them, when they go into battle, won't be returning home, unfortunately, and every life lost, of course, is painful. But those young Israelis who are going into battle, they know that this is necessary. They know that we cannot continue to live with a terrorist enclave on our southern border, raining down terror on our civilian population. This can only end with the end of Hamas. That is the only way this can end.
So let me, you brought up Iran. They were funded and backed by Iran. The Wall Street Journal editorial today talks about how coming up this Monday is the 40th anniversary of the Beirut bombing, where Iranian-backed terrorists killed 241 Americans in Beirut, and Iran didn't pay a price. You could look at a 2008 op-ed from the Wall Street Journal editorial page talking about how George W. Bush, a man not known for backing down, was not moving against Iran when they were bad actors. We talk about Hamas a lot. What about the bigger problem? And that is the country that's been the epicenter of terrorism since 1979, that's funding not only all of your enemies in the region, but ours.
So I agree with your analysis. And if we hit Hamas hard, if we destroy their military machine, if we dismantle their political structure in Gaza, that's a blow for Iran. And that's a blow for all of Iran's proxies in the region, whether it's the Houthis in Yemen or Hezbollah in Lebanon or the Shia militias in Iraq. You defeat them in one place, that has a ripple effect. And let's be frank, they've started a war. And in war, which we didn't want, but they've started it, there's only one thing that we need, and that is victory. We cannot allow them to win this. We will win this. We will prevail. And when we do so, it's not just going to keep Israelis safer. I believe it'll be good for the Palestinians, too. The people of Gaza have only suffered and become impoverished under this terrible Hamas rule. There should be something better in the Gaza Strip for them as well.
Mr. Ambassador, having heard everything you've said, Israel's response being the end of Hamas is not going to get a lot of argument. It's going to get a lot of support from around the world. As part of being judicious and thinking this through, there's so much to consider. There's 222 hostages, the issue of when a ground invasion begins, the suffering that's already happening there, and the civilian lives that are bound to be lost during that invasion.
And that have already been lost.
All of this, of course, just to be very clear, a response to the savage attack by Hamas terrorists on October 7th. And October 7th was too soon to ask the question, why were Israelis waiting 6 hours for a response? Why was Israel not prepared? But it is October 23rd, and I'm curious, is it a key, critical point of moving forward, finding out where the lapses were and what happened, especially when it comes to keeping trust with the Israeli people as well as your international partners?
Mika, you're asking exactly the sort of questions that Israelis are asking themselves. And it's clear that there were failures. There was an intelligence failure. They caught us by surprise on that bloody Saturday. Then there's questions about the speed of the Israeli response. How could they cross our border so easily? How could they kill so many people before we were managed to retake our territory and eliminate the terrorists? Of course, these are legitimate questions. But I think they've started a war. We have to finish it. And we have to finish it on our terms. There'll be time in Israel. We're a democratic country. We know how to look at lessons learned. We have checks and balances. But at the moment, I think everyone in this country is focused on victory. Now, in the first part of your question, Mika, you raised the question of the hostages. And we saw it on Friday night, 2 American citizens released. That's 2 out of 220, if I'm not mistaken. They were released because Hamas and its allies are under amazing pressure. If we keep that pressure up, both the military pressure and the other pressure, I believe we can get more out. But it's crucial that we keep the pressure up. That's how we're going to get more people out.